Hey there, my name is Przemek, and today I have a double review for you of two albums that don't have much in common. There's no any particular link or connection between them. Well, apart from that, they are both dark ambient, and they both are waiting for quite long for a review, maybe even too long. So instead of a single review, I have two albums to talk about today. The Black Monolith End and the Beginning are Dreams, and Onasander, Ashtoreth and Gydja, Animic Atmospheres. But we'll start with the Greek project, the Black Monolith, and the album End and Beginning are Dreams, which was released in February this year, and it is, I think, the last album of the project so far. Earlier they released several albums, full-length albums, but all in digital form, and you can find them on their Bandcamp. Actually, I have a trouble or a problem relating or identifying with the ritual dark ambient albums concepts, mainly because I don't practice any magic or rituals myself, and honestly I'm not particularly interested in doing so. So I will only read how the musician describes his work, and then I will move on to the purely musical aspect. End and Beginning are Dreams is an immersive musical ritual inspired by Thelema and the esoteric realms of Enochian magic. This album unfolds as a single continuous musical movement, channeling the spirit of the bornless ritual, a powerful invocation that transcends the limitations of individual tracks, weaving a seamless tapestry of mysticism. This is how the CD looks like. The cover and the inside. And along with it, I received a kind of booklet / poster with some ritual invocations and symbols. Let me show you this. It's a bit torn here, unfortunately, but well, that's okay. 5 songs. The shortest is 3.5 minutes. The longest one is almost 19 minutes. And it's quite a dark form, but also quite ceremonial, and at the same time with some slightly noise of or industrial overtones. All in all, it is quite a stuffy music, I would say, giving the impression of a ritual taking place in some damp basement, maybe by some esoteric society, access to which is practically impossible from outside. To be honest, I expected something more aesthetic in sound, and this album sounds quite specific. There are many layers of drones, they work together very monolithically, I would say. There is a certain harshness in all this, but also a certain solemnity, intensified by, for example, the sounds of, I don't know, horns or something like that. They appear in a few moments of the album. What else I really like on this album are the vocal parts. Either male, some priest or shaman reciting some hermetic incantations, or a female melodic chants and nicely counterpointing massive drone sequences. As for the ritual aspect of the album, there are basically no ritual rhythms here, but for me, maybe it's even better. But all those elements come together in a powerful finale. The titled track, End and Beginning are Dreams, 19 minutes long, slowly evolving and taking on an increasingly apocalyptic feeling. and then in that last few minutes the music begins to fully refer to even Death Industrial, I would say, as if those incantations resulted in a summoning of some ancient deity who covered the sky with darkness and ashes, you know. It's a good album. Sometimes I have the impression that it's maybe a bit too compressed and could have had a slightly better sound, but overall, fans of ritual dark ambient should feel right at home. Yeah. The Black Monolith. Sorry. The Black Monolith and Beginning are dreams. Okay, the second album I would like to talk about today is this triple collaboration of three projects closely related to Winterlight label, Onasander, Ashtoreth and Gydja. They all seem like one big happy family, so such a set of artists should not be surprising at all that such triple collaboration was released by this particular label from Holland. Ashtoreth from Belgium, Italian Onasander and Gydja from New Zealand. I have already talked about each of these projects in one form or another on Santa Sangre, and today I would say again a few words about the joint work of these three projects, and it's called Animic Atmospheres. But first, the cover. You know, I have a bit of a problem with the latest Winterlight covers, like this one, or Ghost album by Clobent, Onasander, and maybe a few more. When you look at it, it looks aesthetic, of course, but somehow too colorful for me, and when I think about it now, too sterile, giving the impression that it was created with the help of AI, I think, compared to earlier graphic designs of Winterlight albums, the ones from a few years ago. For me personally, it's not a good direction. A matter of taste, of course, but as I say, I prefer the earlier, more modest pictures. As for the music, maybe a word about the concept. This collaborative work is inspired by the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner, who shared his insights on the connection between death, spirit, and the universe in 7 talks in Berlin from January to March 1918. These talks are compiled in a book, Early Death and Cosmic Life, and reveal the profound link between dying, the soul, and the cosmos. Okay, sorry for my ignorance. I have no idea who Rudolf Steiner was and what his philosophy was, so I will not explore this topic further. However, musically, if you know these 3 projects, you know that each of them has a kind of distinctive element and sound is kind of an expert in creating. Be it the low-tuned space drones of Onasander or the guitar atmospheric soundscapes by Ashtoreth, or perhaps the organic spaces by Gydja. Each of them has their own ambient gimmick. Actually, I don't know if it's a right word in this context, but I hope you know what I mean. And to be completely honest, I expected a mix of these influences and a bit of an ambient jumble, perhaps even an overload of layers and atmospheres, kind of kind of a fight for territory between these three artists. But there's a surprise. It's quite a disciplined album. It's calm. No one is fighting for influence here. The whole album sounds like a very cultured and constructive cooperation of three projects that know their value and don't have to prove anything to anyone. And in each piece, the basis is a juicy, low-tuned drone. I think it's my guess. It's by Onasander, on top of which consecutive soundscapes and textures are superimposed, sometimes quite dreamlike, maybe sometimes atmospheric, and it all has a nice flavor of classic dark ambient, where a decent drone is a must, and we don't kind of overdo it with another ideas, sometimes even unnecessary ideas. We just slowly and competently build the right atmosphere. Actually, this album reminds me a bit of Fragments project, maybe. Sometimes there's also a taste of old cold meat industry, like in track 7, Uncharted Regions. And what's also pretty cool about this album, that each track seems better than the previous one. Maybe also again, it's a matter of taste, and it's maybe just my impression, but I think the album reaches its climax in the last 3 compositions: Disincarnate, Occulted Regions, and the titled one, Animic Atmospheres. It probably won't be the best or the most important work in the discographies of these 3 projects, but I have to admit that it's a very coherent and professional album. None of the musicians takes the album for himself or herself. Neither wants to outshine the other 2. It's a complete ambient symbiosis, in my opinion. Onasander, Ashtoreth, and Gydja, Animic Atmospheres. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.